Let's talk about client density. Density is the measure of devices per access point. A good design must offer radio frequency coverage, but must also consider client density. An adequate number of access points must be chosen to distribute users. Surveys must take into account density, for instance, the blueprint studies and the predictive surveys. Planning tools must also take into account client density, for instance, the offsite predictive surveys. High density cases are, for instance, education classrooms, auditoriums, enterprise offices, meeting rooms, auditoriums, restaurants, convention areas, and hotspots. Devices compete for available airtime, so the more active clients will, the less airtime available. So you'll need more access points to distribute airtime. In order to improve the data rate, to reduce the channel contention, you will need more access point as well. The access point cell size must be reduced to include the desired number of users. So in order to design for high density, you must limit the access point transmit power levels. You can use this Cisco dynamic transmit power control. And remember that Cisco access points have up to 8 transmission power level values. You must improve the data rate. Keep 12 megabits per second as the minimum allowable rate, disable rates under it, and support rates above it. You must select the appropriate antenna for the access point. Remember that omnidirectional antennas have a larger footprint than, for instance, patch antennas that will focus radio frequency in order to have a small cell footprints. The sailing height can be an issue. As the sailing becomes higher, the footprint increases, so you'll need to have higher gain antennas in order to maintain the small access point cell sizes. You must not increase the transmit power level, but use higher gain antennas. Leverage the 5 GHz band that will offer you with more channels. Maintain a 10 to 15% overlap between cells. The radio frequency recommendations are having a noise floor of no lower than minus 92 dBms. If you are using cells that have the same channel, calculate the boundary at minus 67 dBms. Maintain co-channel isolation of minus 19 dBms. So at the beginning of your next cell, you have an actual interference of minus 86 dBms. You can also use the Cisco flexible radio architecture that consists of access points that have 2 antennas. If you set them into this 5 GHz mode, they can offer channel in channel or cell within cell feature. For instance, if you choose the micro mode, and your access point will provide a large footprint cell, and using the internal antenna, it will provide also a smaller cell footprint. These cells will be using different channels. If you choose the macro mode, your access point will create a large footprint cell, and you must connect an external antenna to create another large cell. Both cells will be using different channels. The .11ax standard will provide you with advantages for high density networks. For instance, it will provide you with the basic service set coloring. This will help you if you have 2 cells that are using the same channel, in order to provide color to the traffic that belongs to one cell, so devices will know when another device within the same cell is transmitting and not a device that belongs to another cell. With this standard, having a higher QAM count and having larger channels and having multiple MIMO will help stations to coordinate upstream transmissions, and will so this transmission will not collide randomly with one another. Using OFDMA, you can have up to 64 subcarriers that will let stations transmit more symbols that are sent in parallel over the air. That's it.